Joining us live now, the former Pentagon advisor and commander of the US Navy Reserve, Jason Israel. Talk about the Quad. What do you make? It's very brief, not for very long, these Quad meetings taking place. Jason, what have you made? What are your observations?
Thanks for having me, Pete. Let me tell you, as somebody who's been a White House and Pentagon staffer, if you look at the readout of the list of the things that were announced, not necessarily in the headlines, these are the things that make staffers to the president very happy, because you see a lot of proactive initiatives of things that are going to be happening between the meetings. And there's two things that are genius, I think, about the Quad, Pete. One is, first of all, it's really showing a U.S. and allies focus on the Indo-Pacific. So from the U.S. perspective, we're getting together democracies and close allies to talk about the Indo-Pacific. The second is, if you look at that list, it doesn't directly talk about China at all. But if you look at each one of the points, and let me just bring up a couple, they announced a huge maritime domain awareness project. That's going to allow understanding of climate change, of disaster response, but it's also going to allow for understanding of illegal fishing in the area, of course, which China has been very active in the region. So being able to provide sort of proactive vision for the region with lots of different programs in between the meetings is even more important than the meetings themselves.
Does it lead to action, though?
So absolutely. So for each one of these, let me look at, for example, climate. You think, well, is climate just about targets when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions? What they also announced was the 4 transportation ministers for the 4 countries are going to meet, and they're going to discuss how they can create a network of green shipping across the Indo-Pacific. The energy ministers are going to meet and going to put a Quad 10-year action plan for creating clean tech together as a country. So what you're doing is you're getting countries together to actually look at the science and tech going forward too. They even announced a 100 Quad fellowships and students that are graduating this year in Australia should look at this. The application is live for 100 graduate students to go to the U.S. and study STEM fields under a Quad fellowship, fully paid for. And applications are open until 30 June. So they're really trying to get the Quad to be even more of a solid structure than it has been just through this long list of programs.
Right.